Here are my picks for the 10 best tabletop role-playing games this year. Hey there, adventurers. My name is Judd, and this is Short Rest Studios, where we believe fun builds community. Some of these games came out in 2025, and some are classics of the hobby. You might be surprised, even upset at some that are missing, and yes, D&D makes the list. I guarantee you, though, that number one is going to surprise you, so hang around until the end. Links to all these games will be in the description, and don't forget to comment your favorite TTRPGs of the year, too. First off, I have to give an honorable mention to one of the most unique indie games out there, Gubat Banwa. In Gubat Banwa, players are honorable warriors in a unique Southeast Asian-inspired fantasy setting. The super fast 3 action points per turn combat is based on Southeast Asian martial arts and is heavily influenced by video game RPGs, wargaming, and D&D 4E in the best possible ways. Gubat Banwa has a martial arts-based class system and a dramatic and violent narrative system. Starting off the countdown at number 10 is The One Ring. The fantasy genre in literature, film, and tabletop role-playing games owes a lot, possibly its very existence, to The Lord of the Rings, but no other tabletop role-playing game really captures the world, the lore, the vibe of Middle-earth like The One Ring, and that's because the whole system is specifically designed around capturing that world. Player characters are all heroes who can gain skill points to upgrade skills or adventure points to upgrade combat proficiencies. They can rank up in valor and wisdom and even gain shadow points when they do things that aren't quite so heroic. Heroes don't really use magic, and when magic happens, it kind of freaks everybody out. Travel is integral and unique. March tests determine how far you journey. Events and fatigue happen based on terrain and length of travel. Combat is brutal and crunchy. The One Ring is a truly unique system, perfectly designed for its Middle-earth setting. Coming in at number 9 is Skate Wizards. I can't stop talking about this game because I really just want more people to know about it. It's unique, silly, and ridiculously fun. In Skate Wizards, your PCs are wizards in a fantasy world who draw their power from their skateboard knowledge and their symbiotic relationship with their board. Character creation and gameplay are fast and intuitive. You have 3 attributes and 3 spells you can cast anytime to manifest a ramp, a sidewalk, or a rail that appears below your skateboard. Every day you roll for a random spell name, and you and your GM decide what this rando spell does when it's cast. You can also choose bootleg spells from a collection of 6 skate vids. When you perform an action, you just describe it, but if the GM thinks it's risky or hard to resolve, you roll for it. The latest edition is super short and includes adventures to get you started. In 8th place in my top 10 TTRPGs of 2025 is Dungeons & Dragons. I told you it would be in here somewhere. D&D is the most popular TTRPG in the world for good reason. It pretty much started the whole hobby. And whether you're sticking with the 2014 rules or updating to 2024, 5th edition D&D is a well-rounded and fairly flexible system. The D20 mechanic makes attacks, actions, and skill checks really straightforward. There are a million options for character customization, from subclasses to spells to weapons to feats and abilities. There are an ungodly number of resources from Wizards of the Coast and tons of third-party publishers. D&D is really geared towards super heroic high fantasy, but it's possible to play almost any kind of game you want. Possibly the best thing about D&D, though, is that because it is so well-known and ubiquitous, wherever you are, you can most likely find a group to play with. If you're a big D&D fan, a solid number 8 spot might feel low to you, but stick with me because other games on this list innovate on D&D's core in some really cool and fun ways, like this next one. In the number 7 spot, Daggerheart. Unless you've been living under a rock, you probably know that Daggerheart is the fantasy RPG from Critical Role's Darrington Press. It's designed with a narrative focus, but it can provide a surprising amount of crunch. Its core mechanic centers on D12s, but its most unique feature is its hope and fear system. You roll hope and fear dice for every check. When you roll higher on hope, you get hope points to fuel your abilities. If you roll higher on fear, the GM gets fear points to mix things up with some additional complications. Plus, those hope and fear dice affect the level of success or failure of your roll. Daggerheart has a card-based character creation system with ancestry, community, subclass, and domain cards that evolve as your character grows. That, along with the collaborative and narrative-driven focus, allows both game mechanics and the story to shape your character's development. And combat in Daggerheart has no initiative, no rounds, no defined number of actions per turn. Daggerheart's core book includes a ton of help for GMs, Session 0 world building, campaign creation guidance for every experience level, and the core set is absolutely beautiful. Sliding into the countdown at number 6 is Draw Steel. This is another highly anticipated new game from Matt Colville and his pals at MCDM. Draw Steel's combat system, based on a 2d6 mechanic, is designed to highlight the cinematic moments. There are no misses, your attack roll determines your damage, your swings and spells always hit, every character has signature abilities that they can use each round. One of the coolest things about Draw Steel is that your heroes gain resources as they fight, getting better as the adventuring day goes on. There are also systems for negotiating with NPCs, research, and crafting. Draw Steel has 2 core books. Heroes, the rule book, includes character creation, customization and advancement, classes, skills, combat, everything you need to run and play the game. The Monsters book, of course, includes boatloads of cool monsters. I did a video about some of the best ones for your first adventure in Draw Steel recently, but it also has some great encounter building tools. Ranking at number 5 is the first of 2 sci-fi games on the list, Lancer. 15,000 years in the future, your players are elite mech pilots fighting to liberate the oppressed. Lancer's setting is massive: interstellar empires, corporate states, uncanny phenomena. Lancer has a unique mix of gritty tactical combat and rules-light narrative play. Anything you want to do outside of mech combat takes a 10 or above on a d20 roll. The combat rules are necessarily more complex. You've got varying numbers of actions, different weapons do different damage, but those rules are still comprehensible and well structured while managing to keep the crunch you probably want in a mech battle. Lancer's 30 mechs range from 9 to 45 feet tall. They have 2 or up to 6 legs. They might have organic parts or be able to teleport. And the weapons range from railguns to mines to axes and swords. I love it. Stick with me, adventurers. We've got 4 more great games to talk about, and I guarantee you, especially if you've been following the channel for any length of time, number 1 is gonna surprise you. Use my link to get 10% off the ultimate holiday gamer gift from today's sponsor, Legacy Game Tables. From the signature dining and banquet tables to the massive Tablezilla and even the streamer, Legacy signature game tables are flexible, strong, and absolutely gorgeous. They come in a variety of wood finishes and fabric colors, and they're created by real gamers who know what we need. Their wide edge design is great for RPG books, board games, drinks, and snacks. There are optional cup holders and a top that transforms your game table into your dining table. Head to legacygametables.com/shortreststudios for 10% off the gaming furniture of your dreams, or the ultimate holiday gift for a gamer you love. At number 4, we have Mothership. This is our second sci-fi game, but it's also a horror game. Mothership combines elements of Alien and Lovecraft. One time I said it was like the sadistic love child of Call of Cthulhu and Traveler. I stand by that statement. In Mothership, space travel is common, but it's tough. There are human-like androids. You probably owe a bunch of money to a corporation. It's grimy and gritty, and stuff's trying to kill you. You encounter alien monsters, new worlds, derelict spacecraft, and Lovecraftian horrors. Or you could just be murdered by another crew member when they lose their mind. Like Call of Cthulhu, Mothership uses a D100 roll under system. You roll under your stat to resolve an action. Its coolest feature, though, is its stress and panic mechanics. Every time you fail a check or save, you gain 1 stress, ratcheting up the tension. On a critical failure, or if the game master determines the situation warrants it, you roll a panic check. The more stressed you get, the more likely you are to completely lose it, and you take on some debilitating condition. If you've been following this channel for a while, number 3 might come as a bit of a shock to you. Dungeon Crawl Classics. As much as I talk about this game, even I'm a little surprised it's not in the #1 spot, but I still love DCC. It is wild and crazy, and death lurks around every corner. Balance just isn't a thing in DCC. Literally any encounter could kill you, and that's emphasized right from the start with the 0-level funnel. Each player has a gaggle of 0-level characters, and the ones that survive their first dungeon make it to level 1, but survival does not get any easier. If the monsters don't kill you, your party's wizard might botch a spell so badly that he maims himself or somebody else in the party. He could open a rift to another dimension accidentally. He could even become so corrupted by eldritch energies that he grows a squid beak. But when the spells go right, they might take out all your enemies in one shot. Mighty deeds of arms allow your warriors and dwarves to perform crazy stunts that change the tide of battle. The gods of chaos might decide to use you for their own ends, but there's always riches and glory to be had. There's an incredibly vibrant community around DCC and tons of published adventures and third-party resources. And if you have not played it, get out there and do it now. Coming in at #2 is a much celebrated indie game that has blown up since it was published in 2024, ShadowDark. ShadowDark raised over $1.3 million in crowdfunding and went on to win 4 gold Ennies at Gen Con in 2024. And the Kickstarter for the first official ShadowDark campaign setting, The Western Reaches, has raised almost $3 million to date. A lot of folks love this game, and that community just continues to grow. ShadowDark puts an old school twist on modern TTRPG mechanics. It's almost minimalist, with a light and sleek rule set and beautiful black and white art with a distinct old school vibe. ShadowDark really gets back to the dungeon crawling roots of our hobby, scrappy adventurers who may or may not be heroes, plumbing the depths for treasure, facing horrifying monsters in the dark. As in DCC, death is always a possibility, and magic is unpredictable, and things move fast and get crazy. But ShadowDark beats out DCC because it is so much simpler. Everything from character creation to straightforward spell check rolls to combat just works the way you want it to. I had the chance to play ShadowDark a couple summers ago with Kelsey Dion, the game's designer, and that was some of the most fun I've had at the game table. All right, adventurers, without further ado, my favorite TTRPG of 2025, NIMBLE. Billed as a fast, tactical TTRPG, NIMBLE is honestly everything I wish D&D had given us in the 2024 updates. NIMBLE transforms the often sluggish combat of 5e into a lightning-fast explosion of action. Attack and damage rolls are combined. You just roll the damage dice for your weapon, and you only miss if you roll a 1. The super streamlined magic system gives you spells that level up as you do and mana to make them more powerful. And you can probably tell from the 2 previous entries in this countdown that I generally like RPGs that move fast but are also brutal and a bit gritty. NIMBLE, though, kind of goes against the grain for me. It leans into the superheroic fantasy, and you see that most clearly in its exploding damage dice. When you roll the max on your damage die, there's a crit, and each time you crit, you get to roll again. And as long as you keep critting, you keep rolling. I can pretty much promise you that your table has never celebrated as much as they will celebrate when your party is down and your berserker rolls an unbelievable chain of crits that puts them back on top. Character creation is a breeze. The character sheets are dead simple. Monsters are amazing, from your basic goblin to legendary monsters with abilities that kick in when they take enough damage, reinvigorating your boss fights just when your players thought they had things in hand. Plus, NIMBLE, for my money, has the most beautiful and useful box set on the market. All 3 core books, monster and spell cards, a gorgeous cloth map. It's well worth the money. There you go, adventurers, my top 10 TTRPGs of 2025. Let me know your favorites in the comments, and if you dig this content, please like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. And I'd really appreciate it if you'd consider supporting Short Rest Studios by heading to patreon.com/shortreststudios or hitting the join button right under this video. There are tons of great indie games, hidden gems of the hobby. Here's a video about 10 of them that you need to check out. Give it a watch, and I'll see you next time on Short Rest Studios.